Hey folks, this is coming up next. Alright folks, we start with a white canvas just like every other time. Pencil in the outline of the mountains and the river, and now we start to paint with blue and white because that's what sky colors normally are. Painting with a really light blue, probably not light enough, and then a little bit of a darker blue is the middle mountain. The key is to actually keep it as lighter than I actually did in this painting, and this foreground mountain is quite dark. I'm using also a green in the front of the mountain to help create just that gradient, and basically mimicking it as best as I can in the water, and then blending it a little bit, putting some yellow on for a beach, and then some green just to get my underpainting down so that I know what I'm doing. These trees will not be noticeable in the end, just getting underpainting like we should for this type of painting. Alright, now I'm going straight into the mountains and creating some variation and texture. Lighting, the light is supposed to be in between the very first mountain and the center mountain. That's where the sun is kind of sitting. So this is going to have lighting on the left side for the two mountains, and then just some variation in texture and shadows. And here now I was just trying to make it so that the mountain almost looks like it's got a mist in between it, and you'll see that as it gets further along. Same thing with the middle mountain, first putting on my highlights and then filling in with some darker purples. These mountains are not finished yet, just wanted to show you in between. So you're adding some more darks, just continuing to build layer upon layer. Here I'm using a little bit of green to blend in. Again, we're going to have some trees at the bottom here. And here I'm adding that cloudy, hazy glow in between. It's a fairly watered down whitish blue that helps create that haze in between the mountains, which really what I want. Now I'm taking a darker phthalo blue and phthalo green, and we're creating some depth to the mountain as well that's in the foreground. Now I realized I used way too bright of a color, or way too dark for these mountains. I wanted them to be lighter, so I went in and I actually started to lighten them up. And here I'm kind of creating a radial sun effect. Originally the sun wasn't actually as prominent as I wanted it to, but as the painting went on, I really felt the need to make that sun even more brilliant and more vibrant. The camera is actually showing it a little bit brighter than it actually is, but you'll see in the final piece. So now I'm taking a phthalo green, also I think it's an olive green or a army green, creating some variation in my colors of trees, just really tiny strokes. On this foreground mountain, I'm using again a phthalo blue with some variation, mixing in a few of those greens to kind of create some change variation. As I get closer to the coast, I start transitioning a little bit more into more greens, less blue, and so now I have this first layer of trees on the mountains, and we're starting to get the perspective that we're looking for. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to use a very bristly fan brush to create a variety of trees. Oh wait, of course, I forgot to put the dark colors underneath because it helps make the trees pop out and gives them the shadow in the background that I want. So again, here we're using a bunch of different shades of the same greens to help create the texture. Even some browns and oranges, kind of like some dead trees. And putting a little bit of highlights of a brighter green on the trees, create that texture. And this is a very blurry picture. That's the best one I had at this stage. Sorry, the camera didn't pick up the way that I wanted to. So now I'm adding some more highlights, a few more trees in front of this other layer. One of the things is to be patient and make layers. Layers are always beneficial. So now I'm going to start putting blues into the waters. At first I was going to do strokes all the way across, and then I realized that it wasn't getting me the presentation that I wanted. So then here I start filling in the majority of it with the blues and a little bit of greens that I was working with, and then I started making the textures that I wanted along the side at the edge of this, so it gave me the reflection that I was hoping for. So that's what we have here. Again, the lighting of the sun is a little bit more bright because I have my painting light right above it, and it kind of shines a little too bright. Adding some grass strokes here at around the edge of the water, and then I'm putting in some green brushes again, making sure to vary the colors of greens. Don't use the same green for the whole thing, but don't use hyper contrasted greens, just some slight variations to create texture. That's what we have here. And now I'm going to add some texture to the water. Sorry, it's a little cut off at the bottom there, and some highlights with some brighter greens with some little bit of yellows in there. And this is what we end up with, and here I'm going to show you a much better presented picture. So this is our final product, so pretty happy with that. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next video.